Hi, it's Xanthe. I thought that we would just take a look at my very small makeup kit and look at what brands and products I mainly use. So I did discard just a handful of products which included a L'Oreal concealer, because even though it was a close match to my skin tone, because I contained a lot of alcohol and I've got sensitive skin. I also discarded the NYX blush, which was a nice colour but too shimmery. This is the bronzer, but a similar kind of product. And the fragrance, so this one has the annoying fragrance as well, but I'm just keeping that one for the meantime. And there was a Macao Beauty blush, cream blush, which is a nice colour, but it was sort of like a terracotta colour. But it was, and I've got this other one which is a darker terracotta. The other one was better, but this one doesn't have an annoying fragrance, whereas the other one did. So where possible, I try to use the testers at stores and try the products on, and also the testers, you can sniff them and decide like, oh, if it's a terrible smelling lipstick, I will not wear it because it will smell weird, taste weird, everything. That is the case for me with some lipsticks. That includes the L'Oreal range. I can't stand the smell. I can't stand the smell of the new Maybellines, the old Maybellines, which they've discontinued, such as this one. We're fine. So, I'm very sensitive to things like smell and touch, etc., sensory sensitivities. So I'll just show you my makeup collection overall, and then we'll look at the products according to brand and product, kind of, rather than just colours like I've done before. So this is some of it, and mostly lipsticks in this case, but I also mix them to make way more colours. Now this is the banished one for now, which I may or may not use. So I've put the Maybelline New Beige in there, I've put the NYX bronzer in there until I can find another bronzer which is suitable. And so, I want a bronzer that's not really orange, so that was kind of more brownish colour. I bought this one for sale, New Zealand $5. This looked like a nice purple colour, but it's just way too dark, and probably would not use it. And also I've got in here a Nature eyeshadow, which is quite a nice colour, sort of a what do they call it, a mauve colour, yeah, mauve. But when I wore it, it just seemed to make my eyes really dry, so I can't be sure unless I wear it again. So when I'm ready to wear it again and try it again to see whether it was the culprit. So I buy all I think Americans and people in the UK also use the word drugstore, because in New Zealand we say chemist or pharmacy, but pharmacy is usually the prescriptions. Chemists can be both retail as well. It depends, much of a muchness, but some of the some of the pharmacies do lots of sales. So the kind of there's one in particular that does sales called Chemist Warehouse in New Zealand. They have lots of makeup brands, so that's Australian brands like Nude by Nature. They've got quite a few brands. They've got the Revlon, Maybelline, Rimmel, which I don't really use, and NYX, which is hit and miss, I found. Quite a lot of brands. There's also a department store in New Zealand. I'm from a small town, so we don't have that many options. But there's one called Farmers, which have basically those brands. The Chemist Warehouse also has L'Oreal. Did I say that? Now L'Oreal does own some of those other brands. But Farmers will often run a discount of 25% off, 30% off, 40% off, kind of sales. So being on a low income, it's kind of, makeup's expensive for me. So, but it's a way to enjoy colour. So it's sort of, take advantage of the sales. I don't tend to buy makeup online, mainly because it's so hit and miss with, without really be able to just, you know, test them out kind of thing. I don't test them out on my face because of the hygiene reasons, but just to put on my hand, and I can, you know, clean my hands up afterwards. As far as brands, let's separate them out a little bit. So I currently have 3 foundations. I tossed out that really horrible grey one. So this one's a Maybelline Fit Me, which is a little bit peachy, but I can make it work by mixing it with blue pigment. The 2 which are closest to me is this new one, Maybelline Lifter, which is almost an exact match to my skin tone. And then we've also got 3.5N True Match L'Oreal, which is slightly peachy and has a slightly different finish to it, sort of a sheen. So I'll be curious probably to try this one more and just see how I like it. So that's for the foundations. Concealers, I only have one, so it's a Revlon serum concealer, so this one's a Luminance. So if I was to look at here, just guessing, I have mainly Chi Chi as far as eyeshadows and Revlon as far as lipsticks, but let's just have a look at everything. So I have one concealer. I did have 2. The other one was a close match to my skin tone. That was the L'Oreal, but it had lots of alcohol in it as a primary ingredient. You can actually smell it. This one I have bought more than once, so it's for, you know, I do like it. I find that it's not too heavy. It's a little bit peach on me, a little bit lighter, but it's fine for what I want to use it for. And you can easily mix it to adjust. So let's get the some of the other products out of the way. So let's have a look at the Chi Chi palettes. They're reasonably priced, but really good pigmentation and lots of range of colours. So one of these will be blush. So let's just have a look. I'll just show you the kind of colours we have as well. So the blush I've got here, this is the Dusty Rose. I usually end up using the cooler one. When I have swatched some of the other colours, they're a little bit bright on me. Let's just quickly look at their eyeshadows without naming them. So we've got, you know, blue kind of family. Got some, the ones that I would use more would be the greens in that one rather than those browns. Wouldn't tend to use like that light one, it'd be kind of chalky on me. See that? It's not really my taste, so I use sometimes some of these darker ones. This is like this one's a mauve, just called Spice Mauves. Use that one sometimes, sort of a softer kind of look. Use this one sometimes, it's Cool Browns. Now, as far as light goes, I probably wouldn't use that light there, but I will use the shimmery ones, which have a different effect, and they can be quite nice just to add like a, sort of like a highlight. I've got this one, sort of pink family, I use some of those. Sort of that one's sort of the strongest pink here, but some of those are more warmer pinks. And so those are the Chi Chis. I thought I had another one, just having a look. Maybe not. Well, if we come across any others, we'll see. Now, the other eyeshadows that I quite like, you know, with trying them on to see whether they're pigmented enough, because generally with lip colour, cheek colour and eye colour, I want medium to deep colours and a few darker colours, not pale. So they're just the pale or the too muted. The slightly muted is fine. So I've got here a couple of Revlons. As far as eyeshadow goes, seems like I've got 2. So in the Revlon range, I've got this this one here, which looks purple at first, but when you compare it to their actual purple, this one's more of a red violet. So this one is called Exquisite. Mainly use that one there. And also got a warmer palette here, sort of a, you know, rusty kind of colours. That one's called Maverick. I use some of those colours sometimes if I want more of a warmer colours. So I did also have, I used to have one of their ones that had sort of the purpley kind of colours. that was quite nice. So sort of that kind of colour. So I have got this, let's see what else I got from Revlon here when we're looking at Revlon. I don't use it very often, but I've got this Revlon highlighter here, which is called Twilight Gleam. You know, just if I want to use a highlighter. I've got this blush called Hot Cheeks. The other blushes are all way too light, so this is more of a, you know, it's a deeper colour, and it sort of looks. It's one of those ones where it's like you can't really tell whether it's warm or cool when it's compared to the other colours. It's sort of in between. I picked this one up on the sale as well. This eyeshadow is called Chocolate, and they're just continued range. But what I find is it's kind of cooler on, so it's quite good if I want to use it as a contour. You can multi-purpose products. What else got from Revlon? Revlon, I've got this banana powder, which I like. Just use a tiny amount. So use it as a setting powder. Revlon Illuminates Blur and Set. And look what else we've got here. So we've also got the lipsticks, which we'll come back to once we've just looked through this lot. So Nude by Nature is an Australian brand. When I've tested out their liquid concealer type products, I don't really like them, but I have probably my longest standing product that I've used is the powder. So this powder is a medium neutral N4. It's not too orange, it's definitely kind of similar to my skin tone. So it's called Mineral Cover Loose Powder Foundation, but it's not as, you know, it's very thin compared to using like a liquid foundation, but it can just sort of give the illusion of just, you know, evening things out, and also just reduce shine if I want. I have combination skin, so a little bit oilier down the forehead and nose and chin area, and drier in my cheeks generally. Although this is not fine enough to be used as a setting powder under the eyes or anything, so that's why I prefer the banana powder. So the Nude by Nature, a couple of other products which I really like are a couple of cream blushes. So this one here in the peach I'm wearing at the moment, mixed with a terracotta or another one, because it's a little bit light on me by itself. But one of my favourite blushes, which has a touch of violet in it, is the Nude Berry, which looks very flattering on me. Another product I have from them, which is a little bit messier to use because it's a serum blush, is this this one here, Warm Rose it's called. It's a little bit muted, but the ingredients list, it's a combination of I've forgotten now, the iron oxide pigments, but it kind of looks like a red on me, like a soft red, so that's quite nice. Often when you have more muted colouring like me, rather than going for, you know, a really bold, instead of going for a really bold blush like I've swatched in my hand and it's like, whoa, that's just no good. The softer ones, still pigmented, but they're just a bit more muted. They still end up looking very glowy, so that one's, I do like it when I've worn it. I'll just try and pick out a few of the other products just while we're here. I did buy this lipstick by Nude by Nature, but it's a bit too muted, but it's okay, you can mix it. I can wear it as a blush even. So, but wearing anything like that hardly shows up at all on my lips, so it's more like a lip balm look for me. And that was a dusky nude, just a little bit too dusky for me. So I think that's on the Nude by Nature's. So let's have a look at what else I have here. So we're going to put some of these back in here. just to put them away again. So I put the makeup just in the drawer beside me, so it's easy to just fish through and find things. And I like to mix colours together just to get a wider range of things. I'll just move that so that I've got more space. Okay, so let's have a look at Maybelline. So I've only got a few Maybelline things. So we had the foundation, this one, and then we also had the one that's a bit too peachy, but I can fix that one. I just used a bit of the blue pigment from the Chi Chi eyeshadow just to, you know, bring the excess orange down. So I think this one is one that I'm currently trying to see how I like that. Now I've got a couple of blushes which I like. These are kind of new releases to New Zealand, it seems. So this one, these are Cloudtopias. When I swatched them and asked the assistants which one they thought was better, they each voted for this one here, which was the Coral Illusion, which kind of surprised me because coral is usually too bright on me. But when I compare it, it's actually not that corally, it's actually blends out quite soft. And then there's this one here is called Dawn, Dreamy Dawn. So this one is a little bit cooler compared to this, but they're still warmer compared to the other ones. And they can be mixed together quite happily. And I just put a tiny amount on though, because otherwise it would be too bright on me. So those are Maybelline's. Oh, here's another Revlon. This was I use this one a lot as a base for eyeshadow, so it's almost the same colour as the skin tone once applied, just looks a bit shimmery. So this one was in Praline, another cream one. What else? So the Macau Beauty, I found, I think it's an Australian brand, pretty hit and miss, honestly. Just some of their products are quite nice and some of them it's like, So this one's warm terracotta. It's just a little bit too dark unless I use the tiniest amount. So, you know, just blend it out and mix it with something else that can be quite nice. So I had a couple of other products from them. Oh, I've got this pinky kind of blush. So this is like a muted rose. I'm just gonna put it here. So if I want something more in the more pinker, I can go something along this line. And that doesn't have the stinky fragrance. So I don't know why they put the stinky fragrance. I wish that cosmetics companies didn't fragrance their products, because they can be really annoying to wear if you've got a sensitive sense of smell, but their fragrance can often be very irritating for sensitive skins. So another blush that I have is Australis. I think it's Australian. This one is an extra. This one is a colour I like to use a lot, but when I've sampled their other products, they just seem, I don't know, cheap. Just when I say cheap, I mean cheap quality. Just haven't liked them. I've only got one eyeshadow removal Scandal Eyes. I tossed it to the other one that I had. This one is I use mainly these three colours here, so the burgundy and the browns. When I've swatched some of their other products, I haven't liked them, so I think they're a UK one. Let's have a look at some of these kind of products. So I found NYX to be very hit and miss when I've sampled their products. So the NYX products that I have are just three, I think, currently. Apart from that bronzer, which if I can find a replacement, I will be not using that. So I found sometimes the green fix stick quite handy if there's some red areas, but I always mix it with a concealer or something, or even foundation first, otherwise it's too strong. I use the peach, the deep peach a lot. Found that very useful for colour correcting hyperpigmentation, dark circles. I can either use it by itself or mix it. And I do have this, I don't use it all the time, this NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. So that's, you know, just to mimic fine hairs. My brows aren't that sparse, so it's not really necessary. I have one product from Natio apart from the eyeshadow, which I have bought. I have bought this brand mascara. I used to buy the black Tubing mascara. I switched to brown, and I've liked it enough that I've bought it again. And when I do wear mascara, which I'm not today, I like that product. L'Oreal, I don't actually have much from L'Oreal. I do have a foundation here, but I have, which I use sometimes, I've got this L'Oreal Infallible, it's a medium contour. I find that it's kind of reddish. It's quite ideal depending on what colours I'm wearing, more if I'm wearing, you know, darker brown colours or something around here, but not, it's a bit reddish for this area, a little bit warm, and that's where the using the eyeshadow instead would work better. Okay, so what we've got left now are the lipsticks. So we'll just put those back in here. Just got these I got these containers for about $5 each, New Zealand, from the warehouse, so just makes it so much easier, you know, when I want to choose a lipstick. So let's just sort the lipstick into their brands. So I'll just pick out, I've got Max Factor, I've got 4 lipsticks, so the shades are pretty similar to what's on the tops there. I don't wear them a lot, but basically I've got 2 slightly cooler leaning, but still, you know, not fully cool. This one's a lighter one, and again, I wouldn't go lighter than this because it doesn't really show on my lips. It's more of a nude lip colour, whereas this one is a sort of a rusty warm red. Sort of orangey red, and this one again is another light one that leans slightly warmer. So when they're that colour in my hand, any lighter than that is a waste of time, and if they look extremely bright on me on my hand, I just won't use them. So the Mix Factor is nice. I actually used to have a way smaller makeup collection that is only consisted of about 3 eyeshadow palettes, 1 mascara, 1 blush. I had Max Factor blush, which is discontinued. It was called Soft Merino. It was like a soft red. It was really nice, and I used that for years. So yeah, and I had probably 6 lipsticks. So anyway, I've got now over a dozen lipsticks. So I've got the Max Factors. Let's have a look at the Maybellines. I believe these are discontinued. So this is the ruby one, this is a pink one, which is a little bit cool on me, but sometimes I use it and mix it. The rest of them, Revlons, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 Revlon lipsticks, and I've probably got all the colours that I want, and definitely don't make the most of sales. I've looked at the different colours before, but generally it's just I pick something which will blend alright with my skin tone. This space I haven't used yet, so you've got a few different reds. I don't wear the reds very often, but if I'm wearing a red, I quite, you know, you can mix the reds together even. So I would often, if I want to wear more of a primary red, I'd wear the warmer red here plus this ruby red here, which is cooler and deeper, and just mix them together to get the exact red I want. I've got some sort of rusty kind of brownish colour, so again I wouldn't go lighter than this colour just to, otherwise it's kind of a waste of time on me. The darkest ones are probably these two dark ones. I'm just trying to find them. Now the problem with the Revlon is the labels don't necessarily match what's in them, so it can be a bit hard and a bit annoying to find which one. So for example, that one's got that colour label, but it's actually much darker on, which I'll just show you. So this one's one of my darkest ones, the Blackberry. It's quite a lot of violet tones in it. And another dark one which I have is Rumberry. I don't wear this one very often. It's more of a dark brown in comparison. See the difference? So those are the two darkest, but with anything darker you can always apply less generally. So probably one of the boldest I have from this range, which I don't wear very often, and if I do I put a tiny bit and or mix it, is the Cherries and the Snow. It's sort of more of a fuchsia family, so it's a little bit kind of cool. Now I do have a few different brownish kind of tones, and generally, yeah, there's a bit of all sorts in there, but one of my favourites is the Raisin Rage, which I wear with quite a lot of colours. So you can see the difference between those two. So I would tend to only pull that more fuchsia type one out and then still soften it if I was wearing kind of a more fuchsia type family colour, which is quite bold on me, but I still go for a deeper version. Thanks.